Are you going to give me a high sign or something? Good evening. Tonight we come together for what is the first for our State of the City addresses, a virtual event. When we began planning this event, we were deep in the throes of the pandemic and wanted to ensure the safety of our community while still honoring some very wonderful people and celebrating the vibrant city that we all know and love. Although we cannot be with you in person tonight, we appreciate each of you who has taken the time to tune in as we honor the several deserving individuals in our community who have truly served humbly over the past 2 years during the COVID pandemic. Who could have imagined in March 2020 what our world would look like just 2 short years later? The pandemic has affected every one of us, and our hearts are with those who have lost loved ones or whose lives have been changed forever as a result of the virus. I would like to take a moment of silence to honor those who we have lost. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Mayor's Youth Council. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am so proud of our Mayor's Youth Council. These young men and women have advised me on issues affecting our youth, work to promote healthy lifestyles, and volunteer in the community. They represent students from our public and private schools as well as students who are homeschooled. I also want to thank the residents who serve on our boards and commissions. Your civic involvement is critically important to continuing the business of ensuring our city moves forward. Last summer, we welcomed a new city manager, Winter Benda. As he heads into his 9th month on the job, I just want to thank him for his dedication in diving headfirst into serving our city. From climbing into a water tank to meeting employees where they are, Winter has done an extraordinary job leading the city, and we are looking forward to where he's going to take us next. I first want to say that I am privileged to serve alongside my colleagues on City Council. Vice Mayor Bo Wright, Council members Jeff Helgeson, Randy Nelson, Trinae Tweedy, Sterling Wilder, and Chris Ferrelli. I wish to thank them for their commitment, service, and love for this community. They spend many hours away from home and have made many sacrifices to serve the residents of this city. And I want to extend my deep thanks and gratitude to all the families who make it possible for us to do what we do. Tonight, the Vice Mayor and I would like to spend a few minutes with you sharing the challenges and incredible accomplishments over the past 2 years and how we have moved forward as a city. I am pleased to report that the state of the city in 2022 is both strong and resilient. Over the past 2 years, we have seen businesses expansions, economic resiliency, and involved residents. Although we have not been immune to the challenges experienced by both the nation and the state over the past 2 years, we have, through conservative fiscal management, a diverse economy, and caring residents, been able to continue a sustainable community. I would now like to introduce Vice Mayor Bo Wright for some brief remarks.
Thank you, Mayor Dolan. Thanks to all of you who are here in the room and those, of course, at home. So the pandemic has caused all of us to shift focus, to look inward, identify those important things that really matter: our families, our friends, our community. And your city adopted the same approach. As the world shut down, your city stepped up. The team here knew that it couldn't stop serving our citizens, and that, in fact, even more was going to be required to keep our city humming and our neighbors safe. So first, we went digital. And now just as many businesses were going virtual to meet customers where they were online, the city established online services ranging from development planning to consolidated business, license processes, and a short-term rental registration program, all very, very exciting things. Everything, reviews, permitting, licenses, code cases, and public meetings all had contact-free options. And the city team worked hard to make accommodations for those who either didn't have or didn't prefer online options. And at the same time, when many local governments had to suspend their development processes, development in Lynchburg exploded. We've all seen the construction around town. And our Office of Community Development worked hard to keep pace. In fact, in July 2020, the city issued more building permits than we did the same month the year before, which is pretty amazing. But our work out in the physical world didn't stop either. Collaborating with residents, the city leveraged a variety of resources to engage the community, develop plans, and implement neighborhood projects in Deerington, Tyriana, and Pleasant Valley, Tinbridge Hill, and Diamond Hill. New sidewalks were built, water line replacements made, an elementary school recreational field refurbished, resource events hosted, and a variety of maintenance projects completed. And I'd be missing a critical component of the city's work during the pandemic if I didn't mention the city-organized regional COVID-19 vaccination center that opened in March 2021. The first and only one of its kind in the area, this center became a hub for our region's response to COVID and demonstrated Central Virginia and Lynchburg's leadership in combating this deadly virus. Now, thanks to hundreds of volunteers and city employees, the center administered over 34,000 shots during its operation. And remember, of course, this was at the height of COVID, when thousands of Americans were dying each day. Now, we'll never know who is alive today because of our vaccination center. But what we do know is that in our hour of need, our Lynchburg community stepped up. Hundreds had a hand in making the vaccination center possible, and tens of thousands got the shot to protect themselves, their families, and their neighbors. And we owe all of these folks deep thanks. The city also dispersed, this is the fun part, the city also dispersed $14.3 million in federal coronavirus aid, relief, and economic security, or CARES Act funds, to meet local needs. The city's Economic Development Authority leveraged $2 million of these dollars to support local businesses struggling with COVID-related challenges, while $10 million was used to strengthen direct services to residents while keeping city employees safe. So a couple examples include a much-needed addition to one of our fire stations, as well as new vehicles and equipment for bulk and brush pickup. So you may remember at the start of the pandemic, a lot of folks decided to look inward at their own homes, and they started doing some early spring cleaning, which resulted in a massive, unprecedented spike in trash being placed out, which we all saw around the city. And it was a spike we weren't expecting, but our city team pivoted to address it. The city also partnered with local nonprofits to provide much-needed rent, mortgage, and utility assistance to folks across the city. And lastly, an additional $2 million was put to work by Lynchburg City Schools to mitigate learning loss, sponsor food delivery, and ensure when kids and families came back into our schools that those facilities were clean and disinfected. And speaking of LCS, our teachers and staff continue to work incredibly hard to provide a world-class education, 5 days a week, to our community's kids, all while maintaining high health and safety standards. Hi, Mayor's Youth Council. And of course, we all know that this has not been easy to do. And while COVID has had a significant impact on education across the country, students here in Lynchburg continue to approach learning with curiosity and excellence. This past year, our students earned numerous academic, athletic, and art awards. The Optimist Club of Lynchburg, for example, recognized our standout LCS JROTC cadets for their accomplishments and leadership. In addition, the EC Glass Band received superior ratings at the state's Virginia Band and Orchestra Directors Association District 6 concert assessment, while Heritage High School girls' indoor track and field team were state champs, and the boys' team were state runners-up. The EC Glass High School boys and girls basketball teams also had exceptional seasons this year. And it wasn't just our students excelling. LCS's teachers and staff are nominated for and received numerous awards and professional recognitions. And let me see here, I gotta make sure I got my page right. They also received shout outs and gratitude from the community on social media, and rightly so. But beyond just thanks, LCS teachers and staff need our ongoing commitment and support. They're doing the work to make sure all of us have a bright, prosperous future. So before I turn it back to Mayor Dolan, I want to offer how thankful I am for our community, for Lynchburg. We've been through a once-in-a-century pandemic, we hope. And instead of pulling apart, we pulled together. Our city team, our school division, faculty, staff, and board, regional health providers, local nonprofits, businesses, and neighbors like you stepped up to keep doors open and our community safe. It's a remarkable accomplishment. I think it's a real badge of honor, and it's a chapter in Lynchburg's history that all of us can be proud of. So now I'd like to, that was brief, I hope, I'd like to welcome Mayor Dolan back up to the podium to share some additional thoughts with you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Wright. As I stated at the beginning of the evening, I'm happy to share with you that the economic state of our city remains robust, despite the challenges of the past 2 years. The 2020 census numbers have been released, and they indicate that Lynchburg communities continue to see a solid growth. We suspect that much of that growth is due to the increase in student populations at local colleges and universities. These institutions of higher learning add greatly to our city's economy and to our quality of life. This year, we look forward to rejuvenating the Town and Gown initiative to strengthen relationships with our colleges and universities. We thank the college presidents for their positive responses to this initiative, and we look forward to working with them again in person. Many of the students who attend these institutions graduate and stay here, and I believe they remain here because they see Lynchburg as a city with a lot of opportunity. Besides, it's really gorgeous. Our college students excel in academics and athletes, winning awards across the board in both. They immerse themselves in the community, donating thousands and thousands of hours volunteering, and we are so grateful for all the selfless support they give to our city. Last year, Forbes magazine ranked Lynchburg 51st among the nation's 200 largest metropolitan areas as one of the best places for businesses and careers. And we're also excited to share a recent announcement from Southern Living magazine ranking Lynchburg number 14 of cities on the rise in the South. These rankings give us impressive bragging rights, but more important than the rankings themselves is how they manifest themselves in the real world. Local business Flowers Bakery completed their expansion in 2020, investing $10 million for building expansion and renovation, $19 million in new machinery and tools, and creation of 15 new jobs. In 2020, Bausch & Lomb announced it would invest more than $35 million to expand its manufacturing facility in the city of Lynchburg, creating 79 new jobs over the next 5 years. CloudFit Software completed a $5 million renovation to its new headquarters in the historic Carter Glass building in downtown Lynchburg in 2021. In 2021, BWXT Technologies, which is headquartered in Lynchburg, was named to the top spot in Industry Week's annual list of 50 best U.S. manufacturers. The city's Department of Financial Services received the Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA, Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for the year ending June 30, 2021. This was the city's 24th consecutive year receiving this award. GFOA also awarded the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award to the city for its FY 2021 adopted budget. This was the city's 17th consecutive year receiving this award. Closed doors, shuttered windows, uncertain futures. And then creativity, determination, resourcefulness. Our business community did the ultimate pivot and banded together to help each other figure out how to navigate this new world, where online orders were the new table for three, and where meetings with colleagues via a Zoom call became the norm. And we all had a lot to learn about etiquette on Zoom calls. We have also seen economic resilience in our downtown. I am proud to share that in 2021, the Downtown Lynchburg Association was recognized by both the International Downtown Association and Virginia Main Street with awards of excellence for the Downtown-a-thon that we held in July 2020. This was a highly competitive award process with cities from all over the country vying for recognition. Technology is critical to service delivery for both citizens and for our business community. And we are pleased to be recognized as a digital city again last year, ranking 5th among populations in our category. This was the 18th consecutive year as we were placed on the national top 10 ranking. I see a theme here. To tell the City of Lynchburg's story, the Office of Economic Development and Tourism launched a strategic, directed, inclusive campaign to tell the world and ourselves that Lynchburg has something for everyone. Whether you run a small business, employ hundreds of citizens, visit for the weekend, or call Hill City your home, LYH loves you. The new brand campaign offers a bold message of inclusivity that leverages the state's iconic messaging and works to instill pride in a city leaning to the future. The concept behind LYH Loves You revolves around the citizens, businesses, and organizations of Lynchburg and their stories. Our campaign showcases Lynchburg's brightest, kindest, and most creative communities, revealing the character of the city, the inclusive nature of its people, and its outsized ambitions, residents, visitors, business, and talent. The Lynchburg Museum System worked with local community groups to receive state approval to install 10 new Virginia historical markers at various locations throughout the city. We would be remiss if we did not mention a tragic death that happened in the midst of the pandemic. The murder of George Floyd at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer was unconscionable and horrifying, as was the failure to act by the officers present, and resulted in a call to action across the country. Many communities experienced civil unrest and riots, and here in Lynchburg, we were not immune to demands for change. During the summer of 2020, we experienced a week of protests after an unforgettable night of rioting at 5th and Federal. In the wake of these protests, our Lynchburg Police Department did not sit back. They held 6 listening sessions in the community seeking their feedback. Out of those meetings became a 9-page action plan in which LPD outlined what they heard, what they had been doing, what they were doing, and what they were going to do in the future. Last summer, the department received its 10th consecutive accreditation from the Commission of Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. Our fire department also received international accreditation this year from the Commission on Fire Accreditation International. We are so proud of LFD's inaugural accreditation. That also is very competitive. 2 members of the Lynchburg Fire Department were recognized with Governor's Awards over the past 2 years. Captain Earl Copes was named Fire Training Officer of the Year in 2021, and Captain Candace Brown was named EMS Provider in the year 2020. During COVID, we kept all parks, trails, bathrooms, and playgrounds open to ensure our residents were able to get out and enjoy some fresh air when outdoor recreation became more important than ever. Our Parks and Recreation team, through various partnerships, have created new events and programs. They developed a partnership with Cycling Without Age Lynchburg to bring bicycling to the Backwater Creek Trail to seniors and people with disabilities. They partnered with Skate Park Advisory Council to implement the inaugural Riverfront Skate Contest, and they collaborated with the local solar company, Wright Mid-Atlantic Solar, to sponsor solar lights that can be used in parks and trails in areas without power for special programs and events. Our Parks and Recreation Department also received state awards for renovations of Diamond Hill Neighborhood Center and the Riverside Overlook, as well as the Langern Trestle. I have to say, I am amazed at the work our city has accomplished over the past 2 years, and impressed by the incredible people who have dedicated their lives to serving our residents, business owners, and other employees. When we were reviewing the nominations for our Public Service and Public Safety Awards, I was simply blown away by the investments our public servants have in this city. Our city employees continue serving this community with dedication and a positive attitude through one of the most difficult times in Lynchburg's history. I've shared some information about the incredible people that make up our city, and now I want to turn to another important aspect of Lynchburg, our infrastructure. Lynchburg is a beautiful, historic city. Unfortunately, that history also means that we have aging infrastructure. It is critical we continue to invest in our buildings, roads, trails, and other physical infrastructure so residents and visitors to Lynchburg can enjoy all of our great city that has to offer for generations to come. I am so proud of the progress we have made in several restoration projects, including the Riverside Park Overlook, This destination offers a sensational view of the James River, and I encourage you to take a walk around the park and check it out for yourself. Our Public Works team did an incredible job meticulously restoring the Overlook for all to enjoy. Those of you who drive Link Road regularly may have noticed something new: the complete replacement of a 60-year-old bridge last summer. I am pleased to report that that project came in on time and under budget. I know all who frequent this area are grateful for the hard work it took to get the bridge where it is today. One of the most forward-facing projects completed in the last 2 years was the Main Street Renewal project. This project was a partnership with AEP and included upgraded utilities, water, sewer, stormwater, and electrical. It also included beautiful streetscaping and a conversion to two-way traffic. I know the construction detours cause headaches for those visiting downtown, but I hope we can all agree it was worth it. Thank you to the downtown businesses who persevered through the construction and are stronger today than ever. Main Street looks beautiful, and this revitalization has played a direct role in enticing additional businesses to locate in this area. One exciting project that remains under construction at this time is the new Lakeside Drive Bridge. I think we all remember the time in August 2018 when we received 6 inches of rain in about 2 hours. And we received emergency alerts about an impending dam breach at College Lake. Luckily, that breach didn't happen, and our team sprang into action. Through the collective efforts of our city team over the past 3 years to address the potential issues with the dam and speed up the construction of the new Lakeside Drive Bridge, the bridge will be on schedule to open this fall. If we want our city to be relevant and prosper, it is critically important for us to continue investing in not only our infrastructure, but also the people who keep our beloved city functioning on a daily basis. The resilience, courage, dedication, the passion of the residents and businesses who have chosen Lynchburg humbles me, and I am so proud to be your mayor. It is clear that from everything shared tonight, we are on the right track. We can continue to do this together. I thank each of you for joining us tonight. I, like Vice Mayor Wright, am proud to call Lynchburg my home, and I know that you are too. I look forward to everything the new fiscal year holds, and I invite each of you to join us on this journey. In every community, there is always work to be done. Tonight we have heard that together we can do the work because in every heart there is power to do it. God bless you, and God bless the city of Lynchburg. And now for the fun part. The city has a tradition of honoring citizens who have given their time, talent, and expertise in an exemplary manner to create, a better community. Tonight, we are thrilled to announce several Mayor's Awards of Excellence in the following categories: Caregiver, Neighborhood Partner, Public Safety, and Public Service. These awards honor those community members who have gone above and beyond to serve others during a time unlike any other in our city's history. I would first like to welcome Councilmember Nelson to share a little more information about the Centra Emergency Department, which is receiving the Caregiver Award. While Central has hundreds of deserving individuals, the organization nominated the entire emergency department for the incredible work that department did during the pandemic. Councilmember Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for being here. This is a real pleasure, and as the mayor just said, this is the fun part. When the COVID pandemic closed businesses, including this city hall, to the public, one essential business was not shut down. That was Centra's hospitals. During the COVID pandemic, the Lynchburg General Emergency Department experienced call volumes unlike any in their history. They were deluged by COVID-positive patients as well as persons with other medical emergencies. Through it all, Centra's emergency department staff excelled by working overtime and in extra shifts, wearing personal protective equipment for hours and hours at a time, and demonstrating compassion in the midst of our community's intense anxiety. They supported each other and their patients with dedication and hope, always going the extra mile to ensure that those in the Centra Emergency Department were comfortable and cared for, as if the patients were their very own loved ones. This became increasingly important as visitor restrictions took hold and these doctors and nurses and physician assistants were the only persons a patient might see for many days at a time. Centra's emergency department staff sacrificed time with their own families to ensure their patients were comfortable and given the best care possible. Please watch this brief video to gain greater insights into some of the experiences of these dedicated Centra employees.
My name's Lorraine, and I've been a nurse at Centra for 19 years, I think, 18 years in the ER.
My name's Justin Reiser, and I've been here since 2018.
My name is Grace Eaton. I've worked at Centra for 5 years now.
My name is Peter. I'm an emergency room RN. I've been here for about a year.
My name is Brooke. I've been with Centra for 3 years.
My name is Taylor Aldridge. I've been at Centra a total of about 7 years. A nurse for 4 years.
The last 2 years have been two of the hardest years of my life, but they've also been really formative.
Starting as an RN with COVID was challenging. It kind of changed the way we do nursing.
Well, it certainly has been a struggle.
It has been eye-opening, sad at times, but it is nice to see a little light at the end of this tunnel.
Having to adapt to the environment, the change, the constant change.
Kind of the way I've personally gotten through is my faith, my family, friends.
The community really came together for us. They sent cards in and were full of encouragement.
It is such a gift and a privilege to be able to care for people in our community. And the last 2 years, there's been so much need in so many different areas. So that's been a huge privilege to get to wake up every day and come in and be part of that.
Is to be here for people when they need us the most. It's always very rewarding.
The nurses and the EMS providers, just dealing with everything, just with the change and how they adapt and are able to take care of the patient.
I come from a place of faith, so that's what my personal inspiration is. But seeing everyone work and come together to help take care of people, our environmental services, custodial staff, our nurses, everybody shows up and gives their best effort every day. And it's truly inspirational to see people sacrifice their health and their time and their well-being to make this community better and make patients better.
I've been inspired by all of our new staff that has come in and people who have heard how hard it is and witnessed how hard it is and then jumped in anyway. The new nurses who've come in and oriented in this, not knowing anything different, who've still chosen to show up and be so faithful in their service, that's been really inspiring to me.
If my family member to come in here, I want the best care for them. So that's how I try to see this, as I want to give the very best care I can to my patients, and I want them to know that they are truly loved and cared for in some of the scariest time of their lives.
Seeing nurses and doctors and techs go into a room not knowing much about this virus to help people they didn't know. So they would pull somebody out of a car that was having respiratory distress and bring someone back into a room. I felt like it was inspiring to see people come together for each other and help each other, putting their life in danger. We know more about it now, but in the beginning we didn't. And I saw heroes.
And now we are honored and proud to present the Centra Emergency Department with the Mayor's Award of Excellence for Caregivers. Please come up. thank you on behalf of the whole community.
Thank you on behalf of Centra's ED. Yeah, means a lot to us.
Thank you. And now I would like to introduce Councilmember Wilder, who will present the Mayor's Award for Neighborhood Partners.
Good evening. I am so honored to be here to recognize our village, to recognize our community members. We appreciate all the work you do in our community. So I'm recognizing the neighborhood partner to Ned Marshall. Ned Marshall is truly a product of Central Virginia. He was born and raised and educated in Bedford County. He graduated with a degree in business administration and English from the University of Lynchburg, formerly Lynchburg College. He married an Amherst County native, and he has worked for BWXT, the largest employer in Campbell County, for nearly 36 years. And he currently lives in the Midtown section of the city of Lynchburg with his wife and 2 daughters. Ned has served on a number of boards, committees, including Big Brothers, Big Sisters, the Salvation Army, Red Cross, United Way, the University of Lynchburg, the State and Regional Workforce Boards, the State Board of Community Colleges, Central Virginia Community College Local Board, Johnson Health Center, Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities, and Lynchburg Partners in Education, and probably about 20 other boards that Ned is a part of. Over the past year, Ned has dedicated himself to improving access to sports for local youth in our community. Let him tell you more in this brief video.
You know, so what I've found is that for every good thing that you do, good things come back on you, you know, and so for all the things that I've done over the course of my volunteer life, I don't think I've quite measured up for what I've been giving back, you know. So the many things I've done over the course of the last couple of years, I've tried to really back off a little bit and allow others around me to really benefit. But, you know, even with that, you know, I've just had the opportunity to meet some really great people and do some great things. And, you know, whether, you know, I wanted to or not, I ended up on, you know, TV stations being interviewed and now here for this, you know. So, you know, again, I think I'm still working at a deficit in regards to what I've been given versus what I've given out. Lazy has brought together a great number of folks in our community. It started with a thought from Dr. Olson over at the University of Lynchburg. It spread to a couple of ministers, Dr. Reverend Cam and a couple others. They came to me knowing that I have contacts with a lot of folks and have a propensity to be able to bring people together. And so that sort of started the conversation about, let's see, how can we bring sports to our young people who aren't being able to experience it right now. There is a verse, you know, I try not to get too religious on us, but there's a verse that simply says that, you know, that you hunger and thirst for righteousness, you know, and basically that's what it is. It's just a hunger, a thirst that, you know, if I didn't do it, then okay, all right, I may not survive because it just sort of eats at you. You know, so it's something that I don't know if I didn't have this outlet, you know, sort of like a caged lion, you know, I can get obnoxious, you know, when I can't release that energy in a very positive manner. My wife and kids certainly all the time say, all right, you just need to get out and do something because you're getting on all of our nerves. Something that is as basic as that, you know, just, you know, I don't know what I would do with that, whatever it is in me if I didn't have this as an outlet.
Truly, Ned is a shaker and a mover in our community. I'm so glad he's a part of our village. I've served on several boards with Ned, and I have no idea how he does what he does. I cannot tell, I don't know if he even knows how many boards and committees he's on, but he is definitely a person in my village. If I had to pick someone to be on my committee, I would definitely pick Ned Marshall, because Ned Marshall can get it done, and he makes sure our citizens are represented at the table. And I'm so glad that he's at our table. I am honored to present Mr. Mr. Nat Marshall with the Mayor's Award of Excellence for Neighborhood Partner. Let's congratulate Nat Marshall. Now I'd like to call back Councilman Nelson.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilder, and congratulations, Nat. It's nice to have you and your daughter Cammie here. Dr. Todd Olson took over the Lynchburg women's soccer program prior to the 1994 season, and since then, he built a perennial conference and regional powerhouse and a consistent NCAA postseason tournament participant, capping it off with a national title in 2014. That was the University of Lynchburg's very first NCAA national championship in any sport. He's been a professor at the University of Lynchburg for the past 28 years. He teaches in the College of Health Sciences. Aside from on-field coaching and classroom teaching, Dr. Olson is actively involved with service and study abroad projects, both locally and globally. He has taken the university's women's soccer team on soccer service trips to Argentina and Costa Rica. He's traveled to Africa multiple times, where he utilizes his unique background as a soccer coach and an epidemiologist. He currently adopts the sports outreach model to bring sports to children in the Lynchburg community as part of the Lynchburg Area Sports Initiative, and he was the impetus behind the inaugural MLK Walk for Unity earlier this year. He's led the university's women's soccer team's volunteer efforts in partnering with several community organizations to make a true impact. These include Parkview Mission, One Community, One Voice, and Fostering Hope. Please watch Dr. Olson as he shares more about his service in this video.
You know, as a coach, sometimes your legacy is, did you win, did you lose, what's your record, how many championships? And I didn't want that to define me. I have a lot of things I really care about. I love soccer, I love coaching, but I'm a teacher, and I want to be involved in the community, and I wanted to see my kids to see service. I think service is critical, and it's a big part of who I am.
So this hand's gonna go down and this hand's gonna go up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. God, look at that, man, that's awesome.
We just saw that the sports it's become such a pay-to-play model. You know, if you want to be good at something now, it's incredibly expensive. To be a good soccer player, it's thousands and thousands of dollars. And the same thing in lacrosse. You're seeing it in basketball and volleyball and even in football. You know, everything's pay to play. And for the city kids and for people in poverty, it's a massive barrier. And so their options are pretty limited. The whole lazy idea was to try to eliminate that barrier somehow. You know, whether it's doing these pop-up clinics that we do, or we're just getting ready to open up the Lynchburg Sports Locker, which is really cool. And that'll be for equipment, so, you know.
Let's try one more time. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Sorry, look at you.
That's what I've loved most about this. You know, it's 100% volunteers. There's no one getting anything from this. And it's just people that love kids. And they want to help, they see a need. And it's just there's so many, there's 30 or 40 organizations now that are actively involved. And that's amazing. I mean, to get that many organizations together, and they have their own things. They have their own agendas, and they have to raise money, and a lot of them are nonprofits, but they've all come together for this. And it's about the children, and I think that's what I love about Lynchburg. People of Lynchburg love their kids, you know, and we want the best for them, and we think sport's the way to do it. I've been coaching almost 40 years, and I've been a college coach, I've been a high school coach, and I can't even describe the transformative power of sport and what a soccer ball can do to change somebody's life and put them on a different trajectory. And we've seen thousands and thousands of examples of that in football and basketball, where it gets people out of a bad situation sometimes, and you know, and they can come and be really productive citizens and reach the potential that they had, but they just might not have had an opportunity to find. And we can do that through sports sometimes.
Everybody get a hand up here. Nice work. On 3, hard work. 1, 2, 3. Hard work. Good job.
Unfortunately, Dr. Olson is performing his professional service in the classroom tonight. He cannot be with us, but he will be presented with the award at a later time, and I'm sure he'll be watching us later tonight, perhaps, or sometime in the future, so let's give him another hand. I would now like to reintroduce Councilmember Wilder, who will present the Public Service Award. Councilmember Wilder.
Thank you again. Just as part of transparency, I'm Dr. Olson, I'm a professor at University of Lynchburg, and he was on my dissertation committee, so he needs an award just for that. So I want to congratulate him again, yes. I am here to present next round of awards, the Public Safety Award. Pat Watson has served the city of Lynchburg as a citizen and its citizens for 22 years. She's a mentor, supervisor, colleague, and friend to many within the Department of Emergency Services. Pam's influence is not limited to within the walls of this department. She is known and respected throughout the city. She develops great relationships with others and shows compassion for those that surround her. She does an incredible job in balancing, managing her job duties, and taking care of those employees that work for her. Pam has served as a personal and training supervisor for 3 years. This has been especially challenging during the last 2 years as the organization faced staffing shortages because of illnesses, high turnover, and new challenges of recruiting employees during a pandemic. During all of this, Pam remained steadfast and kept pushing forward to find new ways to overcome the recruitment challenges. She worked for the communications and public engagement to develop a more aggressive recruiting campaign and found opportunities to remove barriers in the hiring process and implemented the necessary changes. Pam is always looking for new ways to recognize our employees for the incredible work they do and has effectively used her own social media to help with this. She continually pushes herself to learn new skills as demonstrated by her recent completion of the General Instructor course, which will allow her to teach during basic dispatch school. She represents her department on the Action for Change Committee to help department remain engaged in the conversation about diversity and inclusion for the city. Pam remains positive under even the most aggressive adverse circumstances. Pam Watson is one of the best examples of what it means to be a dedicated city employee and is a true ambassador for emergency services and the city of Lynchburg. Learn more about Pam as her service to this brief video.
Well, I wanted to do something helping people, and I tried nursing, and it just wasn't for me. So I thought, what do I do best? And that's talk a lot. So come to Lynchburg Communications and work in the dispatch, help people that way, talk to people through some tough situations, and I found it. I found it was my place. And it just feels good when you go home and you feel like you did something. You know, I don't want to say anything bad about other jobs but that I've done actually, but there's nothing that feels as good as when you go home and you know you helped somebody, or maybe you got a CPR save or something out of that. So yes. This is the City of Lynchburg's communications room, so it's the dispatch room. So we take all the 911 calls and the non-emergency calls for the City of Lynchburg. And we also dispatch from here. We dispatch police, fire, and EMS, and any other city departments that we need to send out. It might be Public Works or somebody for snow, or it could be buildings and grounds from the city. We all work together. We got very lucky in the beginning that nobody here got COVID. And so we worked them, and we did a lot of overtime is what we did. So kudos to them because they worked very hard in the dispatch room. But then it started to hit us a little bit. And so, yeah, we had people out, and that was worse because we were all working in there overtime and just doing our best to make sure we still continued with our services.
Lynchburg 911, what's the address of the emergency?
Well, I was humbled, actually. I'm grateful to be recognized for this award. I was surprised, but I was happy because I was thinking I worked pretty hard trying to, hire, try to retain the ones that we do have and do some different things to make us a great center. It's tough at times, it's stressful, but you love it because you help so many people. Where else can you do this?
Their job is for emergency services, that job is so challenging. And some of us could have worked home during COVID, where we could work virtually or learn virtually. But certain professions, like the medical staff and a person like her position, they couldn't work virtually. They had to go in continuously during this COVID time period and then work with shortages and continue to do so. So if you've never called 911, but when you called 911, you appreciate them more. I remember when my mother passed in 1999, I had to call 911. They made sure I stayed calm. I remember my house caught on fire in Fort Hill several years ago. We had to call 911 and get the fire department. So whenever someone calls an emergency situation, they have remained calm and help us through some of the worst times of our life. I am delighted to present the Mayor's Award of Excellence for Public Safety to Pam Watson. And I'm also presenting the final award for public service. Now, as a city council member, one of the major calls I get every week continuously is about, they didn't pick up my trash, or my trash is late. I get more calls for that than anything I do in our community. So this is one of the most important awards that I'm so thankful to give out because you have saved me so many times. So John Rose has been a refuse collector since 2001 as a great stabilizing personality. He is pleasant, open to change, and is a shining example of public service. John cares about his trash customers, whether running a weekly trash route or collecting brush or bulk. During COVID-19, an unprecedented amount of trash, I saw it, unprecedented amount of trash during cleaning up of home and improvement projects. In addition to the extra trash, a brush and bulk, it was nearly impossible to hire new employees for all the types of businesses included in the refuse division. This required all the refuse collectors to work extra hours just to keep our city clean. John willingly did so. Also during this time, the Public Works Department changed the trash billing system and brush and bulk collection scheduling. It was a significant change for citizens and operationally for the brush and bulk drivers as well. John picked up the new schedule quickly and willingly, including such technology new to him and required drivers to record every collection stop in a tablet. In addition, he continues to volunteer to assist when we have staffing issues, train new employees, and has helped help with our new refuse building sustainability model remodeling project. John has been a North Star to the refuse division, steady and stable to no matter the current circumstances. We can think of no better example for the public works and the city at large than Mr. Rose. John shares more about his services in this brief video.
I started out at a refuge. I left the sign shop, and then I saw that one time they was getting awful early. I said, well, let me switch over to refuge and try that out. I started at a hopper, and then I ended up getting my CDL, and I ended up being a driver. And then from there, I graduated onto a knuckle boom operator. And it's been good. It's been good. It's a lot of work, hard work, but like I say, once you continue to stay with it, it gets easier.
You know, John, I think, is the best representation of what my department, refuse, but more importantly, public works in the city represents. He's here, he's the North Star. He's consistent, constant, and I can always depend on him. With COVID, we really had to change the dynamic of operations. Everyone had to stay home, and as a result, trash and bulk really became just this Everest that we had to climb. And John was right there at the forefront. There's no time off. We kept working, and John was here. More importantly, he was here with a smile and a great attitude, which I think really helped our morale. A lot of guys came in concerned, but John, he was ready to hit the ground running.
So it's been overwhelming, like you say. Trash, people stayed at home mostly, and there's a lot more to pick up, and just it's more overtime. Because we realize people at home, they need to have their stuff out to be picked up. So that was pretty busy for us. Almost kind of like the storm we had. So. That's a great feeling, knowing that you pull up to a pile, and like you say, it's piles everywhere, and you've done your best to clean it up. That the neighbors or the people will be pleased with your work. You know what I'm saying? It means a lot to me that I do a good job and not leave it undone, not undone. Yeah. That means a whole lot to me. Like you say, me first coming here and working hard, you get a lot of thanks and this and that, but to have to your supervisor, Jeremy, and big boss downtown to honor me with this award means a lot to me. It definitely gonna go on my wall.
One of the benefits of living in Lynchburg, in a city, is that we have the collection. So many times I look at other persons out here and out there, but we can continuously see our city services take this forefront and make sure all of our services run continuously. Like so many other services like healthcare, like the dispatchers, John and his team, they couldn't work from home. They had to go continuously during this time of COVID, doing an unprecedented amount of trash and make sure they did that. And plus, again, like everyone else, they had to work during shortages. So we appreciate your work. I am honored to present the Mayor's Award of Excellence for Public Service to John Rose. Let's give him a hand.
And from the colleagues, God bless y'all. Keep on doing the job.
Thank you. I turn this back over to the hands of our Mayor Dolan.
Boy, after hearing these stories, I feel like a slug. Well, congratulations to all of you, and thank you. The deepest gratitude from the city for all the outstanding service that you give to us. And thank you all for tuning in tonight. May you leave inspired by the extraordinary manner in which your city has risen to the occasion to respond to the challenges of the past 2 years and the employees and residents of the city that made it happen. And may we continue to work together to ensure opportunity for all in the Hill City. Thank you and good evening.